An engineer's career is built on mathematical precision, but its legal validity depends on strict ethical parameters, allowing practitioners to turn calculations into tangible structures. Section 160.70 establishes grounds for disciplinary action against firms. Penalties are often triggered by failures within three specific pillars: licensure exemptions, intellectual property, and sustainable life cycle analysis. You must perfectly categorize these concepts to distinguish lawful engineering from practice warranting board discipline. Our objective is to build a mutually exclusive mental model of these definitions so you can accurately identify the correct legal boundaries on test day. Identifying these boundaries is a primary requirement of the FE exam. Misinterpreting these laws in professional practice leads directly to license revocation and professional ruin. We begin with Model Law Section 170.20, the Exemption Clause. This statute dictates who is permitted to perform engineering work without holding a standard active license. This decision tree shows two legal pathways for exemption. The left path covers contingent licenses, and the right covers subordinate work. A contingent license is a temporary permit for applicants seeking licensure by comity, those already licensed elsewhere who appear to meet local board requirements. This permit is strictly temporal. It is valid only until the board takes final action. If the requirements aren't met, the license faces immediate and automatic revocation. The second pathway governs unlicensed employees and subordinates. Subordinates are legally barred from making any final engineering or surveying designs, and they cannot make final engineering decisions. Because they cannot finalize designs, their work is only lawful if it is subjected to continuous supervision. Specifically, the work must be done under the responsible charge of and explicitly verified by a licensed individual. The FE exam tests these definitions because they provide the legal basis for professional practice. Violating these boundaries constitutes the unauthorized practice of engineering and directly triggers severe disciplinary action under Section 160.70. Professional output is often protected as intellectual property. This is the creative product of the intellect, encompassing inventions, symbols, literary works, and designs. This matrix shows the four specific protection categories used to secure intellectual property: patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. Patents provide a formal property right for an invention, issued by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. These rights are geographically limited. U.S. patent grants are effective only within the United States, its territories, and its possessions. They are also bound by a 20-year term starting from the date the application was filed, provided the owner pays the required maintenance fees. Within this window, you must be able to classify inventions into three mutually exclusive patent subtypes. First, utility patents may be granted to anyone who invents a new and useful process, machine, or composition of matter. Second, design patents protect new, original, and ornamental designs for articles of manufacture. Finally, plant patents are granted for the discovery and asexual reproduction of distinct new varieties of plants. Patents are the only framework providing a hard-capped property right directly over functional or ornamental inventions. In the second quadrant, trademarks are words, names, or symbols used in trade to indicate the source of goods and distinguish them from others. A trademark prevents others from using a confusingly similar mark, clearly different mark. The third quadrant covers copyrights. Governed by the 1976 Copyright Act, this protection is provided to authors of original works, including literary, dramatic, and artistic material. A copyright owner holds the exclusive right to reproduce the work, prepare derivative versions, and publicly distribute or display the material. The final quadrant is trade secrets. This category applies to formulas, programs, methods, or processes. To meet the legal definition, a trade secret must be used in business and provide an economic advantage over competitors who do not possess it. Trade secrets offer little protection without a written agreement between the involved parties, making non-disclosure contracts essential for their legal viability. Associate authorship with copyrights, brand source with trademarks, inventions with patents, and internal advantageous processes with trade secrets. Lawful practice requires more than just protecting engineering output. It requires adhering to societal and ethical constraints on that output. This chart introduces the triple bottom line, which serves as the overarching standard for sustainable engineering. Under this standard, engineering solutions must be technically viable, economically feasible, and environmentally sustainable. Engineers are required to use life cycle analysis to track the potential environmental consequences of their work. This diagram shows the cradle-to-grave analysis. It mandates tracking impacts across the life of a project, from design and development through utilization to final disposal. Throughout this cycle, engineers must manage specific environmental and public safety metrics. These metrics include the protection of ecosystems, landscape aesthetics, and the conservation of natural resources. Responsibility also extends to mitigating air and water pollution, atmospheric emissions, and managing waste processing. On the FE exam, sustainability is categorized alongside safety and public health as a mandatory metric-driven ethical constraint. This is the complete architecture of professional practice. Lawful practice depends on adherence to licensure boundaries and responsible charge rules. Protecting work requires selecting the correct intellectual property mechanism based on the output. Ethical execution requires cradle-to-grave analysis, balancing technical requirements with societal sustainability. Passing the FE exam requires adopting this specific framework, where every engineering design is measured against its legal authorization.
Welcome! In this lesson, we will teach Section 160.70, Grounds for Disciplinary Action for Firms Holding a Certificate. We will also cover related ethics topics, solve 2 scenarios, and assign 1 practice scenario. We'll go at a slower, step-by-step pace. First, the big idea. Section 160.70 lists reasons a firm can face disciplinary action. Think of it as a checklist of what a firm must not do. We'll highlight the most common categories: misrepresentation or fraud, unlicensed practice or allowing unlicensed practice, lack of responsible charge or supervision, and failure to maintain records or comply with board orders. Now let's connect this to related ethics topics. Firms must respect intellectual property, protect confidential information, and prioritize public health and safety. These are professional obligations that reduce legal risk and disciplinary action. We'll list them with a quick visual cue. Scenario 1. A firm submits plans stamped by a licensed engineer, but the engineer never reviewed the final drawings. Is this a problem? Yes. The firm failed to ensure responsible charge and proper supervision, which is a direct grounds for disciplinary action. The stamp implies review, and that did not occur. Scenario 2. A firm advertises that it specializes in structural engineering, but has no licensed structural engineer on staff. Is that acceptable? No. This is misrepresentation and unlicensed practice. The firm could be disciplined for false claims and for practicing beyond qualified staff. Now your turn. Here's a practice scenario. A firm fails to keep project records and ignores a board request to provide them. Is this grounds for disciplinary action? Pause the video and think about it. The answer is yes. Failure to keep records and failure to comply with board orders are explicit grounds for discipline. Let's recap. Section 160.70 lists reasons a firm can be disciplined: misrepresentation, unlicensed practice, lack of responsible charge, and failure to comply with board requirements. The key idea is this: firms must be honest, properly supervised, and accountable to the board.